The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Cristina Pagan, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our community and also around the world. Coming up on today's show, the Kingsbridge Armory here in the Bronx will soon be renovated as a national ice center under a plan that was approved yesterday by the City Council. We recap the major local, national, and international headlines. Then, 'tis the season to give, and what better way than a holiday party and toy drive for those a little less fortunate? The Bronx Chamber of Commerce is doing just that. Later, a winter festival celebrates the city's resiliency a year after Superstorm Sandy. And finally, we will sit down with BronxNet's youth coordinator, Marissa White. So stay tuned. All this and much more is headed your way because we are now officially open. Hello everyone, I'm your host Cristina Pagan, and today is Wednesday, December 11th, 2013. Of course you're watching Open, the only live and interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We want to encourage you to stay connected to us. You can find us on Twitter at BronxNetTV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Tribute was paid on Tuesday for the great Nelson Mandela, who passed on Thursday at the age of 95. The 4-hour memorial took place at Johannesburg FNB Stadium. Presidents, royals, prime ministers, celebrities, and South Africans joined the memorial service. Obama said, "We will never see the likes of Nelson Mandela again. The world thanks you for sharing Nelson Mandela with us."
His struggle was your struggle. His triumph was your triumph. Your dignity and your hope found expression in his life, and your freedom, your democracy, is his cherished legacy. It is hard to eulogize any man, to capture in words not just the facts and the dates that make a life, but the essential truth of a person, their private joys and sorrows, the quiet moments and unique qualities that illuminate someone's soul. How much harder to do so for a giant of history who moved a nation toward justice and in the process moved billions around the world. Born during World War I, far from the corridors of power, a boy raised herding cattle and tutored by the elders of his Thembu tribe, Madiba would emerge as the last great liberator of the 20th century. Given the sweep of his life, the scope of his accomplishments, the adoration that he so rightly earned, it's tempting, I think, to remember Nelson Mandela as an icon, smiling and serene, detached from the tawdry affairs of lesser men. But Madiba himself strongly resisted such a lifeless portrait. Instead, Madiba insisted on sharing with us his doubts and his fears, his miscalculations, along with his victories. "I am not a saint," he said, "unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying." He was not a bust made of marble. He was a man of flesh and blood, a son and a husband, a father and a friend. And that's why we learn so much from him, and that's why we can learn from him still. For nothing he achieved was inevitable. In the arc of his life, we see a man who earned his place in history through struggle and shrewdness and persistence and faith. He changed laws, but he also changed hearts. For the people of South Africa, for those he inspired around the globe, Madiba's passing is rightly a time of mourning and a time to celebrate a heroic life.
The mood was not dampened. African tradition says that when it rains, it means the gods are welcoming you and the gates of heaven are open. The rain symbolizes that Mandela had lived a blessed life. People were singing songs, dancing, and blowing horns. Others had banners with Madiba, Mandela's clan name, to honor him. Posted around the stadium were huge posters of Mandela. In the same stadium 23 years earlier, Nelson Mandela, who was looked upon as the hope of South Africa, delivered his first speech after being released from prison. It was also the home of his last public appearance in July 2010 at the World Cup final. The memorial service fell on the UN Human Rights Day, which will be the focus of a week of mourning. A state funeral will be held Sunday at Mandela's hometown of Kunu, located in South Africa's Eastern Cape province. On the national front, the Affordable Care Act is once again raising questions about whether or not lawmakers are subjected to the same policies as other Americans. The deadline for Congress and the thousands of people who work on their staff was Monday night, but due to all the technical problems, staff members will be able to sign up for another week. Is this a special break for Congress? Outside of Congress, there is no enrollment cutoff date, but there is a deadline. You must sign up by December 23rd to get insurance coverage starting January 1st. Almost every American must have health insurance or they run the risk of being penalized. In New York, Mayor-elect Bill de Blasio appoints Anthony Shorris as first deputy mayor come January 1st. Shorris will be the second highest-ranking official at City Hall. He will be responsible with daily operations of city government during his tenure. Shorris is a New York native who graduated from Harvard and Princeton. He is currently the senior vice dean at the NYU Langone Medical Center. Shorris was formerly an executive director of the Port Authority and once served as the commissioner of New York City's Department of Finance. Arlene Makoko is coming to us live from the Kingsbridge Armory to tell us more about the City Council's approval of the ice rink. We have to take a quick break, but first, as we know, the healthcare has been a topic of note these past few weeks, with Affordable Care Act getting its shaky start in October. New York Congressman Crowley held a seminar at the Hutchinson Metro Center recently to better explain the law and help Bronxites sign up. BronxNet cameras were there to help us learn more.
World-class indoor skating facility to come right here to Kingsbridge Road.
Congressman Crowley, along with Lenny Caro and the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, held a seminar with MetroPlus and the Small Business Assistance Program to provide an in-depth information to business owners and employees pertaining to the Affordable Health Care Act and how it will affect them.
So the effort here is to provide an opportunity, not for everyone yet, but for a good number of the 45 million people in the country heretofore who did not have insurance, the opportunity to afford the insurance.
People in the Bronx and all over New York City really have to get the details in regards to the Affordable Care Act, what's covered, how they could take advantage of tax credits and subsidies that they're eligible for. And when we continue to do forums like this, it just helps, spread the word and combat all of the myths and the misunderstandings about the Affordable Care Act. It's just very important for people to reach out to MetroPlus to try to learn about the Affordable Care Act and what health plans you qualify for.
Enrollment to the Affordable Health Care Act means that employees and small business owners will find new features and programs which they can use to their advantage.
I have in years past relied on the services of a broker. Brokers get paid by the insurance companies that they represent. So that's an income source for them. So I was very glad to be able to hear about the navigators today and how they're not paid by the insurance companies.
When we ask employers, what is your most or the largest concern you have with health insurance, we always hear price is the number one. But the second one they tell us is treating our employees fairly. We want to make sure we treat our employees fairly and we give them access to health insurance if we can afford it.
Reporting for BronxNet, Christina Pagan.
Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Long before I was in Hollywood, I had a grandmother by the name of Estelle Marie Taylor. Positive role models to make sure that I was on the straight path. Big Brothers Big Sisters carefully screens volunteers and places them in long-term mentoring matches with kids who face adversity. With more volunteers, especially men, and more donations, every little who needs a big can have it. Start something. If it's been a while since you've been involved, start something again. Learn more at bigbrothersbigsisters.org. Long before I was in Hollywood, I had
Hello
a
and
grandmother by the
welcome
name
back
of
to
Estelle
Open.
Marie
We're sorry
Taylor.
for the technical difficulties. We'll have more from Arlene Makoko at the Kingsbridge Armory a little later in the show. Celebrating the holiday season with the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. Come join them at the F&J Pine as they collect toys for children that might not have a chance to open gifts this year. Here to tell us more about this event is Chief Executive Officer of the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, Lenny Caro. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell us about the event tonight?
It's a great event, something that we've been doing for many, many years. We understand that people can't afford certain toys, so what we try to do is get our corporations to come and donate as much as they can so we can put smiles on a lot of kids' faces. We reach out to homeless centers, hospitals, a lot of organizations that need the help. They can't afford to buy it. We determine a lot of these places as they request to us, but we also wait to see how many toys that we're able to get. Last year, we were very fortunate. We had a company called Bronx Toys who donated over 30,000 toys. And yeah, it was a great event, and we made sure that everybody got those toys those years. And we were able to be helped by NYPD. This year, we're not as fortunate, but we will still be able to put smiles on kids' faces. So we have a great event tonight, a lot of dignitaries. It's a happy event because when you give to put a smile on someone's face, it makes you feel good.
Especially the kids, right? Especially
absolutely.
during the season.
And we will be visiting St. Barnabas Hospital, one of the ones that we've pre-picked to get there on this Tuesday coming up to put some smiles on those kids' faces. But then it goes on because everybody comes to us and we give those toys to them to do their programs.
So this year, how are you getting the toys this year? You said last year you had Bronx Toys.
Right. Our members who are always supportive, we have this event tonight, and it's a toy drive. So the purpose of this is for you to bring toys. And with those toys from all our members, which is over 600 companies, we'll probably have 140 members tonight come. And if everyone just brings one toy, that's 140 toys. Right. So we'll be able to at least put 140 smiles on kids' faces this year.
That's wonderful. Can you also tell us a little bit about, you said that the Bronx Chamber of Commerce helped to host that Affordable Care Act seminar.
You know, that I'm so glad that you hosted that and showed it today because it's important that everybody realizes this is very important for you to be involved in. This is our third class on this. And even until today, we're still confused about it. And now they have these new navigating situations, and they're due to help us. They can't really fill everything out, but they can give you some direction. And having Congressman Crowley come in from the White House to talk about it, that's how important it really is. So whoever's watching this program, you can reach out to us. There are navigators. There are people that can help you put it together. We're not authorized to do it, but we can at least give you a direction.
What's been the response to these seminars about the Affordable Care Act?
You know, a lot of it deals with businesses, since we're a business organization. Right. So they're there to learn what they can pass down to their employees. So important that they understand the laws and the fines that could be had by not doing the proper thing. So we really don't deal with the one-on-one. We deal with principles of most of businesses.
I think that's also been a point of contention with a lot of people recently. They don't know how many employees they have to have, what they have to do to make that paperwork happen.
Yeah, there is a number from under 40, under actually 50, that has one criteria, and over 50 has another criteria. And sometimes it changes almost day to day. And of course, trying to go onto that website, it has been complicated. I personally tried to do it, and I couldn't get it done. But now it's getting a little better, and hopefully it'll get done.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what the Chamber of Commerce does outside of that?
Well, you know, one of the things I think is important that for people that want to get certified, minority certified, there's a big void in the world of businesses, city contracts, state contracts. At the Bronx Chamber, if you are a minority-owned company and not been certified, come to us. It's all free. We'll get it done for you. Gives you the opportunity to get on these contracts to sell products, be part of city and state bids. But without that certification, it's so much harder. And the numbers are down for minority certification. And we want to help to bring it back there. So reach to the Bronx Chamber of Commerce and we'll be there to help you do it free, just to get everything done for you.
What is that certification specifically?
It primarily gives you, as a minority-owned company, which women minority-owned, if you own the studio and you own 51% of it, that gives you a right to become minority certified, and which allows you then to go on to a bid list for contracts, for lightings, for producing your own shows. Other than other people that are not minority certified, being minority certified gives you an opportunity to step up the line.
Oh, I see. So the certification means that you, I guess, become a little more legitimate.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of money in state, a lot of money in the city that's there for minority certification. And some people just don't take advantage of it. And we do host workshops, and we will be. Actually, we're doing another workshop on the 9th of January, B2B, the Better Business Bureau, to let you know the proper things that you should start doing. The Chamber is really an advocate for small businesses and big businesses, so we can educate you how to run your business better.
That's great. You were also talking off camera with our executive director about manufacturing here in the Bronx.
Right. You know, we're going to be hosting our own show here. It'll be called the Bronx Business Report by the Bronx Chamber. And what we want to do is let the people in the Bronx understand that we still have some great manufacturing companies here. In the next couple of months, we're going to have Smith Electric, the first electric truck manufacturing in the Bronx.
Right, I remember that.
You know, we have a silverware company who's been in the Bronx for over 100 years and actually had made products for the Titanic. Never existed before. So it goes to show you that there are products here in the Bronx. So we want to start to highlight our companies in the Bronx. With our new show, hopefully we'll be able to bring that to the people and they'll be proud of our Bronx. Although our Bronxers should be proud now. There's so many positive things happening in the borough.
The beautiful Bronx, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you mentioned that company has been here for over 100 years, and coming up this year, in 2014, we're talking about the Centennial of the Bronx.
Yes.
And your wonderful event.
This is an exciting event. We've joined with our great borough president, Mr. Ruben Diaz, and his whole office to host the first anniversary of our borough. And a lot of people say, but the borough has been around long. It wasn't incorporated until 1914.
That's interesting.
So that's actually when you're incorporated is when you were officially the borough of the Bronx. So on February 26th at the Marina Del Rey, we have great dignitaries. We're going to highlight our great borough of the Bronx. 100-year in business. Our keynote speaker will be Ruben Diaz Jr., other dignitaries. We're proud of the new Donald Trump golf course that's never thought in your life would happen. The new Marriott hotels that are coming in.
Right.
The second Macy's. You just talked about the Armory. Think about what's happening, the synergy, the new BJ stores, the new shopping malls. There's so much synergy and so many positive things happening. What a great time to celebrate 100 years in the Bronx.
Isn't it? And you're going to have a plaque installed into the courthouse, you said.
Right. On actually January 9th, we present a plaque to the borough and its borough president. It's a bronze plaque presented to them from the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, which will be mounted in the courthouse forever. So it's a nice, another accomplishment of our chamber, who's actually 118 years old, but now to celebrate the borough 100 years. And there are going to be festivities and parties. We're actually going to do a Gatsby event.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So yeah, we're going to do that probably at Pelham Bay, the Art Deco of our Bronx. Nice Gatsby event. Hopefully you'll be there to host it with us.
Oh, I'd love to be there. Oh yeah, the Art Deco, because you can see that down on 161st Street, especially because that's where they were building up those 100 years ago when the Yankees were starting and everything. It's beautiful.
You know, I recently came back from Spain. I saw so many architectural finishes there. Just driving here, and I looked up at top of a lot of our buildings. We have that architecture here, but nobody ever gets a chance to look up. But being in Spain and looking at everything there and coming back and seeing a lot of it still here gives you a good flavor.
How can people get tickets to get to the event?
BronxChamber.org. You'll hit our website. There's going to be a lot of information put on there. And I think it's something to be celebrating. And I know that the borough president has a lot of events planned for the whole year, and we'll be there to support those events.
That's fantastic. Can they also go to the BronxChamber.org for information on workshops? And
workshops, please. Go to our website for almost everything. We're in a brand new design of our new website. Hopefully it'll be launched next month, but at least that's the place to find out. A lot of events are free. We want to give back. The only time you have to pay is when we have to pay for a lunch, so we get reimbursed for that. We have to do it properly.
Well, hopefully your website's more accessible than the Affordable Care Act.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for having us, really.
No problem. Again, it's BronxChamber.org. Do they also have a number, maybe an address?
Sure, 718-828-3900. My elves are back at the office now trying to get everything ready for this year.
I love it.
So we'll see. They'll be there tonight supporting, and we thank them for all the things that they do for us.
Will you be dressed up as Santa?
No, I think Santa may be coming.
Oh, though. Santa may be coming.
I think I lost too much weight to be Santa, but it's okay.
Does Santa have a house here in the Bronx? Maybe in
I think he does. Yeah, I think he does.
I'm pretty sure he does. So tonight at F&J Pine.
Right,
at
please.
What time?
It's from 6 o'clock on. It's $30 to get in. That money goes to buying toys and a toy, which help. So it's really to come and give, so we can give to somebody else.
Great. So tonight, 6 o'clock at F&J Pine for the toy drive for the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Last week, Zumba Fitness stopped by our studio to talk to us about how they're giving back to a family and a young boy struggling with cancer. BronxNet's cameras went out into the open to get a first-hand at this amazing holiday story. Take a look.
Am I good?
Congressman Crowley, along with Lenny Caro and the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, held a seminar with Metro Plus and the small...
Here in the Bronx, Zumba Fitness held an event for a true holiday cause. Let's check it out.
Zumba Fitness gave back this weekend to support a young boy battling cancer.
To see such unity come together in order to raise profits and give all the proceeds to a family that's in need. Because as we all know, cancer, every penny counts. There's never enough to cover. You have medication, you have the chemo treatments, and you have all the medicines he needs to be on. And unfortunately, it's a 2-year process for him at this time.
Because there's so many people that are suffering from health-related diseases, and what we try to do with Zumba is help people live a healthier lifestyle with fitness, with nutrition, with everything, while having fun at the same time. But a way to give back to the community, especially somebody like Aiden, a 5-year-old boy who doesn't deserve, it means a lot for us to give back to him and his family.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, our main goal always is, as instructors, is to, keep people fit, but also do something great for the community.
Cancer survivor and instructor Rufus Gibson spoke to us about his own battles with the disease.
Well, as a cancer survivor, it felt great. I can't believe 5 years ago I was on my deathbed, but here I am doing Zumba. Zumba brought me back to life, so it feels awesome to give back. Advice I would give that kid is just to keep on. He's just a kid. I just want to tell him just to have fun and just keep living. Don't let it bother you. I want his parents. It's just show him the world. Show him life. Just enjoy life. It's so short.
Zumba Fitness demonstrated how even the smallest act of kindness can make a big difference. This is Tiana Correa reporting for BronxNet.
You got to learn your body, pace yourself, and have fun. So let's go have fun. Let's go do it. The key thing about shoulders, your shoulders is a 3-tier muscle. You have your front delts, you have your rear delts, and you have your mid delts. So when you're working out your shoulders properly, you have to do 3 different exercises.
It's wonderful being able to compete with a lot of these young guys from all over the world. It's important to stay in shape.
Hello and welcome back to Open. I'm your host, Cristina Pagan, and it's a special day here at BronxNet. The plan to make the Kingsbridge Armory into a national ice center was approved yesterday by the City Council. Here to tell us more is BronxNet correspondent Arlene Makoko reporting live from the Kingsbridge Armory.
Well, Christina, I'm standing here on Kingsbridge Road, and right behind me is the home of the new Kingsbridge National Ice Center. It's expected to bring in close to 2 million visitors each year, and it's in the right location for that. A few minutes away from me is the 4 train, the Jerome Avenue line, and beyond that is the Grand Concourse, the Kingsbridge Avenue stop. To the west of me is the Major Deegan. It's right next to Westchester County. It'll bring in people from New Jersey and in Manhattan. Again, this is a construction location that will bring in 890 construction jobs, over 130 permanent jobs for a project that is divided into 2 phases. The first one will be complete in 2018. That'll be 5 rinks. 4 rinks will be completed in the following year. Again, a great day for the Kingsbridge Armory. This is a building that has sat unused here for close to 2 decades. Yesterday, the City Council voted 48-1 in favor of this center. That'll be the country's largest indoor facility with 9 rinks. Listen to this, Christina. One of the rinks will have 5,000 seats for an arena for ice shows or hockey tournaments. And this was not an easy process to come to. The last developer related could not get the approval or could not agree on living wages. And that was an important thing here. These developers, backed by hockey legend Mark Messier, have agreed to that. They also want to provide subsidies for local businesses, and they've agreed to provide over 50,000 square feet of community space, which will be used for, among other things, an after-school program. So this is a great day. Many groups are being credited, including the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition and Community Board 7. It's a process that takes some time. It began with them, had to get their approval, then on to the borough president's office, the mayor's office, the city council, and yesterday, City Council member Fernando Cabrera was credited for guiding this project along and making sure that everything was provided, traffic mitigation. This is a busy area. Subsidies for the local businesses, that'll be important. There are about 250 of them that surround the Kingsbridge Armory. Again, this is a really great day for the Bronx.
Arlene, can you tell us anything else about the hearing itself, some of the other council members that may have been involved in making this a dream come true for the Bronx?
Yeah, Christina, it was great to hear a few of them. Outgoing council member Oliver Coppell talked about years ago when his daughter liked to ice skate and she had to travel all the way to Lake Placid to do that. He says that now Bronx kids can come right here to practice and to train. And another interesting remark was from the newly minted city council member, Vanessa Cabrera. As you remember, as a state assembly person up in Albany, she has been a champion for programs for young kids. She says this is a great day in the history of the Bronx.
What else can Bronxites expect from the newly minted center?
Thanks for asking that. As I mentioned, there's this new arena Something that we're not hearing too much of, but what will be important is that Olympian Sarah Hughes, she's a 2002 gold medalist, will be here as a part of the project, and that's going to be important for young kids that want a role model or want to ice skate just like her.
We're looking at models of the upcoming plans for the ice rink. It looks very interesting. You said there are going to be 9 rinks in total?
Yes, this is going to be 9 rings. As I said, it's going to be divided into 2 parts. I think they want to make sure that the community is a part of this project. As part of the plan, young kids in the neighborhood are going to be supplied with free equipment. So this is a center that's going to be open to the community. There will be discounted rates for adults in the neighborhood. So a lot of great stuff.
How would they know what if the adults are in the community? Are they going to have special cards? Did they talk about that at all?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Christina, but
you said
I didn't hear that.
You said that there are going to be discounts for people in the community. How will they know that they are members of the community and not people who came from outside? Did they speak about that?
You know what? That's a great question. I'm sure that there are going to be some meetings coming up to really, flesh out a lot of these these questions. The main thing was the living wage bill, making sure that was going to happen, and that's $10 an hour, $11.50 or $11.50 with benefits.
That's pretty amazing. Thank you, Arlene, for reporting straight from the Kingsbridge Armory.
Thanks, Christina.
We have to take a short break, but when we return, a winter festival you won't want to miss. We'll be right back.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything...
It is I, Grooves Zinkelpel. Yeah. Okay, time for cake.
It's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
This was me. And Mom and Dad. And my big brother Alex. And Jack. This was the day that I learned that sandals get their name from sand. And that the ocean is bigger than all of us. This was the day we all got to forget that I was sick. This was my wish.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back to Open. I'm your host, Cristina Pagan. The Points annual Winter Festival is celebrating resiliency and how our city is still bouncing back a year later after Superstorm Sandy. Artist Chen Carrasco from The Point is here to tell us more. Welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. So tell me, how did you get involved in the Points Winter Festival?
I've been doing the Winter Festival for a number of years, and every year has grown. And I'm glad I'm a part of the Point.
So tell us a little bit about your art. This is an example, I assume.
Yeah, it's an example of neighborhood. The materials that I used there were actually from the Point itself. So everything that you see here is you can also do this at the Point.
What kind of materials do you use?
It's stock cardboard and just like pencils. They do offer a large amount of paint, so you can do it in painting. Any medium that you like, you can find it at the Point.
How did you get started as an artist?
I've always been an artist, but it's like when I came into the Hunts Point section of the Bronx, I found the Point, and it gave me an outlet to be more of an artist. And I'm very fortunate that that the Point gave me that outlet and featured some of my art. So I'm really happy.
Are you from the Bronx originally?
I am from the Bronx, yes.
And you said you moved to Hunts Point.
Yeah, from Brooklyn, but
so you left and you came back.
I consider myself a Bronx person now.
Bronx boy now, are you?
Yeah.
Some of our audience can't see, but this art is actually 3D. It's not just drawn on. Yeah. And is this the kind of art that you've always done?
Yeah, now I'm doing this. I mean, I've done many different types of medium. And it's always about community. Like I would do a neighborhood. And that's what brings out that's what really drives me.
What neighborhood are we looking at in this piece?
None in particular. You can say that is a combination of whatever area that I just happen to be walking by, and it's just you'll see it and it'll just remind you of your own neighborhood.
What inspires you to do neighborhood scenes like this?
Oh man, that's a good question. It's just a sense of just being in my own community. I just like to express where I'm from.
And so, I mean, this is a particular type of art. What other mediums do you use? You are a painter, are you a photographer?
No, not a photographer. Strictly paints.
Strictly paints?
I can do acrylics. I can do just mixed media. I can do silk screens. And yeah. Do you also do community scenes there, or what? Always community. I'm really down with the community.
Are you involved in the community any other way outside of the Point, or?
No, I mean if there is something going on in the community, I can lend a hand, and I can participate. You know, everybody does their own little part in our community.
Right.
So the Hunts Point really just lends out. It's like how you say, is an area that lets you put yourself out there. So whatever it is that you do, I mean, there's anything that you want to do. If you want to volunteer, you want to dance, whatever it is that you want to do, it's in our community. That's where the Point is at.
Do you do anything else at the Point? Do you teach people how to do this kind of art, or? I
would like to. There's a great program there. There's an after-school program with the kids that attend there also. And when I'm there, anybody that can walk up to me and say, "How do you do this?" and I'll definitely show you how to do it.
And so how did you learn how to do this kind of art? I mean, it seems pretty intricate.
Wow, I can't really tell you. It's just
it's
natural.
A secret?
Yeah.
It's a national secret?
Yeah.
You're going to have to kill me?
No.
Is your work on display anywhere?
Not currently. They will be at the Point, though.
Okay. During this winter festival?
Yes.
Do you know any of the other artists that might be there?
That changes from year to year. So at this moment, I don't know who's attending, but there will be plenty of artists that will have their own work at the Point, yes.
We talked about how the Winter Festival is celebrating resiliency after Superstorm Sandy. Do you have any pieces that show that express that?
Personally, no. There are other artists. If you go to the Point, you will see art that reflects that particular topic.
And I'm reading that all the proceeds from this Winter Festival are going to resiliency efforts for Superstorm Sandy.
Definitely.
How many of your pieces on sale for that?
Oh, they definitely are. And like I said, everything, 100% of the proceeds, I don't want anything back. It goes exactly to the program.
So you do this for the love of
art? Oh yeah, definitely.
What else do you do then? You're an artist, obviously, but is that how you make your bread and butter?
No.
No. Okay. I was just wondering, because a lot of people who are artists, this is what they want to do, and this is how they live. Even if they're the starting artist type.
I would love to be an artist forever, but an artist doesn't pay.
Right.
You need a job.
You need a job. So I'm so sorry that we don't have any of your other work to see, but this is really interesting. I mean, it's just I want to touch it. I can't help myself. So You said that you went from the Bronx. You were in Brooklyn, and then you came back to the Bronx. What drew you back to the Bronx?
I was born and raised in the Bronx. I moved to Brooklyn, and it's just something about the Bronx. The flavor is just different.
The flavor?
Yeah, it's just different. It feels like home here.
What's the Bronx flavor to you? What does that mean?
It just feels like home.
Just feels like home?
It just feels like home.
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the South Bronx, Northeast Bronx?
South Bronx, yes.
South Bronx? And how has the Bronx changed from then to now?
Oh, there's been big changes, because I remember the Bronx really bad. And I mean, the Bronx is a great place to live. It's just going up. It's beautiful. It's beautiful out here.
And how have you reflected that in your art? Do you sometimes do scenes from when you were a child and now how they differ from?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, I mean, there are scenes in there that you just don't see right now.
Right, the clotheslines, you don't see that anymore.
Exactly.
In buildings like that. And so what do you like about the changes that you've seen in the Bronx?
I think the Bronx is like, it's changing in a way. It's a good thing. Neighborhoods are changing, and the people are changing. So everything is going to be better than what it was when I was younger.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your time.
Thank you.
And the Points Annual Winter Festival, all the proceeds are going to resiliency efforts, so make sure that you take the time to go see that. We have to take a quick break, but first, the 2013 New York Community Trust New York Magazine Nonprofit Excellence Awards celebrates the outstanding management practices of nonprofits. This year's winners are the Children's Village, the CSH, and Bronx Works. The winners were announced in November at a presentation in the Scholastic Auditorium that includes WNYC's Brian Lehrer, interviewing the broad chairs and chief executives of the three organizations. BronxNet correspondent Arlene Makoko tells us more. Let's take a look.
The first award, the Bronze Award, the winner is Bronx Works.
Bronx Works comes in third place out of a pool.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child. Give. Advocate. Volunteer. Live united. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
Barry, time is running out. According to my calculations, 1 in 5 kids in America struggles with hunger. How can so many children face hunger when there's more than enough food to feed them all? You're right, Barry. We can help solve hunger by teaming up with Feeding America to get food to hungry kids in communities across the country.
Help Flint and the Feeding America network of food banks get food to the people who need it in your community. Find your local Feeding America food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Together, we're Feeding America.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything,
It is I, Grooves Zinkerbell. Okay, time for cake.
it's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Gru. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Welcome back to Open. We are here with Youth Intern Coordinator Marisa White. She is here to tell us a little about our internship program here at BronxNet. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that have happened over this past year?
We had a really busy year this year. We had a lot of interns, probably close to 200, maybe a little over, with the various semesters. We had 2 international students working with us. We had Anis from Holland, and he did our social media for us, taking lots of photos and updating our Facebook pages and Twitter things. So we had that, and that's been fabulous. Ketty came from Italy. She did a lot of studio work here with you guys and some editing in the old gym. And it's nice because we have our local people, we have our Bronx students, and we love our Bronx students, but it's always fabulous when we get students from the other side of the pond, so to speak.
How does that happen, though? How did you get... We also had Lilia from Russia.
And Lilia from Russia, yes. Well, Lilia, I think, is an exchange student. So a lot of students will do, and I think Ketty is as well. Ketty goes to LaGuardia Community, and Lilia comes here to Lehman College. So a lot of them are exchange students for a semester, so they'll do a semester abroad. Anis came to us through a program that sponsors students to do a semester here in the United States. So that's how we found him. So we're working with organizations that are looking to place students in local internships, and also the students that go to the area colleges that are doing a study abroad type thing. So it's kind of nice.
I mean, it's pretty interesting to get their perspective of how we work and what the Bronx is, because some of them haven't even heard of it, or they've heard really bad things. And what's been your experience talking to them after their internship is up or during their internship?
They're pleasantly surprised, like you said. Their image of the Bronx is not what the Bronx really is, or New York City in general. They like the diversity that we have here, not only in the Bronx, but in the city. They like the openness, the fact that we're putting them right to work, which I think is which is the gem of our internship. That goes, whether it's domestic students or students from abroad, the fact that we're putting everybody to work and that they're actually shooting, they're actually editing, and they're actually doing the work. They love the atmosphere, they love the New York environment, so they're surprised, and they are surprised when they visit the Bronx and they see that it's not burning and that there's not it's not a terrible place to be. In fact, it's alive with energy and creativity, and also culture, the arts. I mean, we have a lot of arts that are a lot of art is happening here in the Bronx, and I think when people visit the Bronx and they see the artistic culture that we are not only supporting but help cultivate as well, that raises some eyebrows in a nice way. So it's nice.
It was really interesting. I had a conversation with Ketty, and she was telling me about a friend of hers who had come from Italy to America, and she had the same idea that they wanted to come and practice their English.
Right.
But when they came here to the Bronx, they found that they were speaking either Italian or hearing more Spanish than they did English, and it was that goes back to what you talked about, the diversity of the New York City.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what's coming up.
We have, our internship program runs all year long. So we do follow the school schedule, particularly for the high school kids. So when the high school kids are off, they're not here. And some of the college people work during the breaks and stuff. But coming up in 2014, we have several things that are happening. Internship-wise for Open 2.0. Which is our teens version of this very show. Open 2.0,
which is an award-winning show.
It's actually New York Emmy nominated, which is nice because it's the pilot episode was recognized, and so that is a win. They did win because they were nominated.
Yeah, because they were recognized. Exactly.
Absolutely, Bronx kids recognized. So we're very proud of that. So that's been a live-to-tape show where they've come in, they tape segments, we edit it together, and then we air it, a half-an-hour show. Open 2.0 is going to be going live now in the afternoons at 5 o'clock on Channel 67.
That's a big step.
That's a big step for them. We are going to take the show down 15 minutes, so we're going to shorten the length of the show so that the kids can get more content in, I think, a shorter amount of time. So
for those kids with the short attention spans nowadays.
Yes. Well, it's funny. We have them for an hour and a half twice a week, so it's about 3 hours a week. You guys put on an hour show with probably about an hour and a half setup time, but you get it done. It's a little more challenging for them. them by the time they get here, get the book bags down, they meet everybody, get their willies out. It's almost 5 o'clock, and they've kind of, not there. So, yes, you're right. The shorter show time will be better for their attention span, and it'll give them a little inspiration, I think, because they know they're going to go live. So what we're going to do, we're going to try several things. We're going to experiment, like anything else we've done. We'll try with some interviews. We'll try some performances. We'll try putting some packages together, and we'll see what works. And we'll have the kids involved and see what the kids want to do, what they think is going to work for them. A lot of the kids, surprisingly enough, are really good in front of the camera. So we don't have a lot of challenges there. Some of our challenges just trying to get our content together and get them on the air. So that's what we're going to be working on for 2014.
It's pretty interesting that you say that it's surprising that they're good in front of the camera, because you know what, I think these kids have grown up in front of they're just used to people with camera phones and cameras everywhere. So
Absolutely.
it's almost natural for them to just sit here and maybe not read in front of the camera, but just be there.
It's interesting that you said that, because the teleprompter is a little challenging, because it's a lot of information that's on a small screen that they have to read. They're all tech savvy. They all grew up with computers, with phones.
They don't know a world without it.
They don't know a world without it. I used to leave the house when I was a teenager, and I didn't see my parents until I came back in, or I didn't talk to them until I came back home when the evening was over. These kids are calling their parents from the studio, or, yes, I got here, and my parents are outside, they're coming in 10 minutes. So they're very, very savvy. And they're used to working with the equipment and the electronics. So I think that them going live is going to be a good thing for them. And I do this little study with them, a little test, and I'll say, so you're doing your homework? And they'll say, yeah. And I say, so you have your iPod in, you're listening to music? And they say, yes. And I say, your computer's on? Yeah. You're chatting with a friend? Yep. You got email going? Yep. TV's on someplace? Yep. So all of these things. So they're processing all of this electronic information. So I think that that's why they are successful when they come in here, because they're used to a lot of what they see here, and they fit and they adapt a lot quicker than
so much stimuli happening.
Yes,
they can ignore it.
Yes,
but is that a good thing? I don't know.
I don't know, and that's debatable. We do talk about that, and I do try to tell them to turn the music down.
So we have that.
So we have that coming up. We have new shows that Bronx End is looking at to produce for 2014. We have a civic show that's coming up. We're going to be shooting the pilot soon, talking about things like the Constitution and Bill of Rights, but in a fun, interesting way.
How does one make it fun and interesting?
By involving young people and getting young people's ideas about what the Bill of Rights are, what the Constitution is, what does freedom mean to you.
Which is pretty important, because over the last few elections we've seen that the turnout for the youth has been growing and growing, and they have been making the changes in the elections.
Absolutely, they have a voice, and it's one thing that we've always talked about here at BronxNet in many ways, not just with our adults, but with our young people in general. This is your voice. That's what this is. So the kids certainly have a voice. We just want to kind of direct them a little bit, not manipulate them and not tell them what to say, but just give them that forum in the right way to voice what they have to say.
Not a random tweet or
not a random tweet. No, a thoughtful process. So I think if we look at the civics show or civics content with a young perspective and with a thoughtful perspective, it will be fun and interesting. And a lot of people, this is the challenge. Well, how are you going to make that interesting? Who's going to want to know about that? I think if we involve them, they will make it interesting, because one thing that I've learned with working with the 2.0 kids, they cannot tolerate being bored, not stimulated, or not having it be interesting. And they will find the most mundane things. They will find a way to turn it interesting. So I think we're going to be doing that. We have another show called Healing the Nations, and we've already shot the pilot for that. And that's a uplifting, philosophical, inspirational show. Where's your song inside of you? What can you do to make this world a better place? And where do you fit in this world of negativity and things? And how can we help not necessarily change it, but move it along in a more positive direction. So we have that coming up. And of course, Open is in full swing all the time. And we're always looking for new blood, new interns, and new students that want to learn. We have a lot to offer here. So that's what we're looking at.
How do people get involved in the internship program?
Mostly through their schools and their high schools, teachers, word of mouth. We have great connections with a lot of the area high schools. So a lot of the kids know to go to their teachers. We have a presence on the web. My information is always on the web, so if they go to the website, there's an internship spot. Click on that. There's actually a little interview, I think, with me talking about the internships. My phone number's there. My email is there. And And I tell kids all the time, if you like this experience, tell your friends about it. Or, obviously, we want to service our Bronx students. We want the Bronx. I like the idea of telling kids, you grew up here, you're born and raised here, you went to school here, but you got trained here. That's huge. I went to high school, grammar school, high school, college in the Bronx, and I make my living in the Bronx. I'm very proud of that, and not a lot of places can do that. So obviously we want our Bronx people to come, but our program is open to everyone. We have a niece from Holland and we have Ketty from Italy. So we want to share that and globalize what we're doing. But we want to take pride in our home. We live here, and it's our responsibility to, when we go out into the world, to say, I came from the Bronx and this is what I learned, this is what I did. And then that's how the Bronx reaches a global community.
Outreach.
Yeah. To us.
What's one of your favorite stories from interns, like a success story? Or
we had a student that came from one of the high schools who, when we started 2.0, and he came in, he was one of our best kids, worked our pilot episode, our pilot season. We did a launch of the channel and the show and invited the community and the school community and the Bronx community. Vice principal for this school came, and she took me aside and she said, when I saw so-and-so in your program, I said to his teacher, he's not a good fit for this program. He hadn't been in school and his grades were really bad. And she said in the 6 weeks that he was with us, his grades had come up and he was in school every day. So of course we were so pleased with that and very proud of that. Well, we find out that there's more to this story. A year later, his teacher, I relayed the story to his teacher at an event that we had gone to, a youth media summit in Harlem. And his teacher said to me, you don't understand, this child, because they are children, was before a judge who said to him, the next time I see you, you're going away. Wow. He said, and your program turned him around from that. He started going to school every day because he had to be in school in order to participate here. That's the deal. Right. And not only did his grades pick up, but he got an interest in video. He got an interest in something other than
all that stuff.
That stuff. So that's my favorite story. That's and I think if one child can be affected in that way, we can affect many children. And that shows us that we know what we're doing and we're doing it right.
Thank you, Marissa, so much for your time. It's been a pleasure coming into your homes, and I'd like to thank our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 10 p.m. on Cablevision Channel 67, Fios Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. Have a great week, and don't forget to keep your heart, your mind, and most of all, this channel wide open. For more information about the internship program, check out bronxnet.org. Thank you. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you.
Let us think of Madiba and the words that brought him comfort within the four walls of his cell. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged the punishment, the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. What a magnificent soul it was. We will miss him deeply. May God bless the memory of Nelson Mandela. May God bless the people of South Africa.
BronxNet,